What's going on, everybody? Critic and the Common Man here, and if you were wondering why I look so
Beautiful. Marvelous.
beautiful today, marvelous, terrifying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, it is because I am wearing a full set of makeup. If you are not familiar with Critic and the Common Man, or you haven't maybe been watching our stuff, if you're new to the channel, Chris and I recently played a game of 21 questions.
In which I
we each had to
slaughtered
guess
you.
another movie. I think the game was rigged, but I was outvoted. I lost that game, and so as my punishment, Chris and my wife thought it would be hilarious that I do my full makeup. So my wife did this to me. I think it is beautiful. This is a nice sultry look. I kind of went for Kim Kardashian
Complimentary.
meets James Charles kind of look.
Stop.
You know what I mean?
Stop.
James Dashian. So this is a nice kind of blend. We'll list all the makeup products down below. No, we won't. We won't. And of course, you can see the video of me doing this on IGTV. Let's get right into it. You guys saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. Up today, we will be talking about the much less funny and joking The Midnight Sky, starring and directed by, oh my God, Mr. George Clooney.
Good Lord.
This is
What
your
is
one and only spoiler warning. Dude, Tenton is all about this right
Dude,
now.
my audio, it's like, it
Mega
spiked
spike.
all the way. Yeah.
This is
Stop. Stop it.
This is your
Stop
one
it.
and only spoiler warning. If you've not seen The Midnight Sky on Netflix, go ahead and click off of this, go watch it, and then come back and let us know what you think. So, Chris, I will hand it off. I am just here for my looks, but I will pass it off to you a little bit. The Midnight Sky, what'd you think, man? Initial reactions?
I saw the trailer and I didn't really know what it was about. It's one of those movies where it's like it's vague enough, but also interesting enough that it. What, do you have lipstick on your glass?
The lipstick stain that just left on that cup is ridiculous,
Yep.
dude. Oh my God.
We are selling that glass for $125.
It's a little low, but as the followers grow, so will the value of that cup. It's an investment, people.
So yeah, I wasn't sure what it was about, but it also looked super intriguing, and yeah, I mean, I watched the movie. It for such a slow movie, it keeps you kind of like really interested, and like you want to know why they're showing you the space station and the ground, and like they're obviously going to be connected somehow, even though they're not. Pretty much the entire movie. It was an interesting movie to see somebody, like George Clooney, who hasn't done anything in what I feel like is a long time, just kind of come in and do.
Come back in.
It was entertaining. I liked it.
It's a very fascinating story. It's a fascinating plot that, to me, leaves you wanting a lot more at the end of the movie. It's an interesting enough movie. It's definitely not got the grip that something like an Interstellar might have, or like even like a sci-fi, like a Star Wars or something. It's a fascinating story, and it's one that we've kind of seen before. Earth is basically becoming uninhabitable by some means. We don't really know what's going on. It's like radiation thing, and so people are leaving Earth to go and find another habitable planet.
And you never find out what it is, too.
Well, you never really find out what it is. There's a lot of unknown in this movie. Like a good bit of this movie still ends up unknown, even at the end there.
They just say it's an accident.
Yeah, it's just something happened. You don't really know what, nuclear fallout maybe. You're not
Probably.
entirely sure. But I liked the idea of, okay, there's a spaceship out there that's coming back, this ether spaceship that they're trying to contact, and he's trying to get there, but everything building up to the moment where he actually gets in contact with ether, I was very in. And then once he actually gets in contact with them, it's supposed to be such a big moment, and they're finally in contact, and they're going to save him, or he's going to save them. And then it's sort of, the movie falls flat from that point on.
Yeah, because then I just, as soon as he gets in contact with them, and especially towards the end when they find out, I mean, when the girl dies, and just all of that stuff happens towards the end. My lasting thought at the end of the movie was like, it leaves you with this like hopeful message and stuff, but it's at the same time, it's like there's only 2 people left in the entire human race. Like the human race is dead. Like there's nothing that they're going to be able to do. Unless
Dude,
I'm missing something, unless there's other
No,
humans somewhere.
I don't. I mean, that's the thing. They send all those people off at the beginning of the movie, and that's where Iris, the young girl, gets left behind. So her family and everybody's getting on these spaceships, basically. Or I don't even know if those were spaceships or if they were just supposed to be taking them further north, somewhere else on Earth that they assume is safe. I think that's what's going on.
Didn't they say they went underground?
Maybe they went underground. I must have missed that.
I don't know.
But I mean, either way, they build up to this thing where George Clooney, you think, is going to like get off of Earth and he's going to go join Ether and that crew on the spaceship, or he's going to get the girl there at least. He's at least going to get Iris there. And then none of that happens. They make contact and then their satellites are messed up. They have to go on this perilous journey. It's just dark. This was a very dark movie. It was interesting. It was fascinating, I'd even say, but it just became so heavy at the end. It kind of gets a little bit overwhelming.
Well, and the big twist at the end, spoilers, by the way. Just the big twist at the end that he's the girl's father.
Right.
And that she didn't exist. That she wasn't even there. It was all in his mind.
He was just like going crazy, basically.
Yeah, and I think it was sort of like his way of like being able to like push himself subconsciously to do what he needed to do, which was get to that station.
Right. Dude, when he found that plane, that had like fallen down, and the guy, it was interesting. Like when you look inside that plane, the guy's clearly he was some rich dude. It was a private jet, and he had all these treasures in there, like fancy paintings and whatnot. And clearly none of that means anything.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, if you look at that scene, the plane is full of like fancy looking stuff, and it's like a little private jet. So clearly this is supposed to be some rich dude. He was, taking his private jet and flying somewhere safe, and clearly it didn't work. They crashed. But that was a very intense scene, a very scary scene. I was just a little bit disappointed with the majority of this movie, just being that I was looking for something a little more dramatic at the end, as opposed to him just sort of dying.
Yeah, there's definitely no real build up in like the climax, and it's just him getting from one point to another, from one goal to another, and then it sort of kind of, I think you said it just sort of flattens out, and there's no real like plateau or a real peak or anything. There's no emotional like delivery. It's just, hey, this is some information. Don't come down here. Good luck. And then
this movie was like a weird mix of The Martian and I Am Legend without the zombies, but like with the pandemic kind of thing. It was like a very strange combination of those two things. But it's just almost this movie I think was a little bit too bleak. It was like the whole thing was just a little bit too bleak.
I think if she hadn't actually if they hadn't been trying to build up towards that big reveal that the little girl wasn't actually there. If she was actually there and he actually had to get her onto a ship to get her safe with his like dying breath or whatever, I think that would have been more interesting, because then you have a reason to follow through the story and the tension and like, oh my God, is he going to save her? But as soon as they kind of delivered that surprise, like, hey.
No. Like, hey. No. Hey.
She's not real. This is the dad.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like, what was the point?
Him just kind of giving up. I mean, not giving up. I mean, he sent his message up to Ether to tell them to not land and keep going, and it was like they tried to make a super depressing version of Interstellar. I will say the good thing is, knowing what we know now with me with this makeup, if it's ever just me and you and we're the last people on Earth, at least I'll be looking good for you. You know what I mean?
I think you could learn how to do my makeup so well that I might spontaneously change genders, and then we could repopulate the Earth.
Yes, we could inject you with frog DNA and fill in the holes and dino DNA.
Dino DNA.
Oh my God. Yes, I will say you spend enough time on one of those Arctic camps, somebody like me would be looking real good right about now, man. There's no doubt about that.
Like pirates finding mermaids.
Yeah.
Like, look at those manatees.
God damn, that one's hot. It's just a porpoise swimming around. And thus the legends of the mermaid were born. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was expecting a little bit more oomph from the actual sci-fi part of this. I mean, they made it fairly realistic in its base. They had sent a ship out for people to try to find an inhabitable planet, which I guess they did. And it seemed like some of the flora, the flora they had brought back with them was from that other planet that they had discovered. That spaceship idea that they had was pretty cool. I bought that. And then, him being able to connect up to them in space, even though it's in the Arctic and things, I bought all of it. I didn't think any of it was too far-fetched. It was just such a bleak movie, man, that it's just
the
a
science
little bit
was
too
there.
depressing. Yeah, I think
And
the scientific part of it was there.
dude, for me, the part that I think was the most gripping and the most just I guess the emotional peak I think of the movie was when obviously when the girl was outside in space and you know they were all doing the spacewalking, but dude, when they pulled off her helmet,
Dude, and all that blood just came flying out.
just
I
the
know.
pressure.
I know.
Just,
I was
oh.
like, you probably should have just left that helmet on her until they were able to equalize the pressure in that room.
Yep.
Because they just like they took her helmet off, and it was just like a ridiculous amount of blood.
Yeah, that was mildly disturbing. I was like, "Oh shit!" Because
Yeah,
it's
that
true.
was
Like,
pretty
I mean,
freaky.
that's what would happen, you know, physics wise. You know, with like
Yeah,
the
I got to
equilibrium.
imagine. I got to imagine that's exactly what would happen. I don't know, man. I was expecting a little bit more to happen to Clooney on Earth. Now, his venture from one base to the other was pretty intense. They go in that little hut kind of thing, and it crashes through the ice, which, by the way, when that happened, I had no idea what was going on. That was kind of cool directing, because I was like, it's filling up with water? I was like, what is happening? And like, I was like, oh, he's dreaming or something. And then I realized as they were breaking out of the window, the whole thing was sinking into the water beneath the ice.
Yeah.
Pretty creative kind of cinematography there, I guess you could say.
The cinematography in the whole movie is pretty good. Like, it's
I liked
a
it.
solid movie. It's just the story itself kind of lacks a little bit.
Yeah, I think it leaves something to be desired, and it's hard too because when we get so used to movies like an Interstellar or these Star Wars trilogies, where every time somebody goes into space, it's this big grand adventure kind of thing. To just see people kind of casually up in a spaceship and they do the spacewalk and get hit, of course they're going to have that, but we've seen that before. I think the final third of this movie was kind of a big letdown.
Agreed.
I found myself more interested in it than I thought I was going to be at the beginning. I started watching it and realized, oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting. And then it was like he finally made contact with the people, and I'm thinking he's going to try to stage some sort of rescue, or he's going to help people, and it's just sort of, hey, don't come down here. Sorry, see you later. And then they just, that's basically it.
There was no point in his character's function, really, other than that we were following him.
Right, but he had to warn them that they couldn't come back because they were gonna, I think, automatically land if they hadn't been warned that Earth was uninhabitable and they all would have died.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I wish there was something more he could have given them as far as like information or it's just something more. You know, I don't even know what it would be. But it's an interesting movie. It's intriguing, and it definitely gripped me in especially in certain moments. I just wanted more.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite movie, and for two people, you and I, that love sci-fi content so much, definitely not our favorite movie for sure. It was an interesting one. It was interesting, like you said, to see George Clooney come back in. This was not received well by pretty much anybody.
Really?
I think it was a little bit harsh on the audience score, but I kind of get it. It wasn't the best movie. 52% critic score and a 26% audience score right now on Rotten Tomatoes. So when you see a score in that 26 range, essentially what that tells you is for the most part, people just did not like it at all. Right. I mean, when you see scores, because you'll see 50s, 60s, people are meh. When you see a 20-something% score, it means people generally hated this movie.
Yeah.
So what do you think? How do your scores compare to that, a 52 and a 26?
It's definitely not that harsh. I think that the movie was just not delivered well. I think you're right. I think the last third, Act 3, just didn't deliver in what should have been this build up to something more powerful, and it just didn't.
Right.
It just, again, it was just it made his character feel as if his only purpose was to deliver a message, which we didn't have to follow for that journey, if that's the case. I think that there was just something missing emotionally between the audience and his character. We didn't really like him because he was kind of an asshole. We weren't really sure what was happening with him. There was a lot that they could have done to kind of push us in a different emotional direction, a different curve to kind of make us not necessarily like him at first and then kind of grow on, have us grow on, or have him grow on us, I should say.
Right.
But the movie's the writing didn't quite deliver what it could have. Otherwise, the cinematography I think was solid. The acting was solid. And the story itself is compelling. It's just the writing wasn't. And so for that, I'm stuck somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7. I think I'm gonna go with a 6.5, just as we kind of discuss this more. I didn't hate the movie, but I also didn't walk away, wanting to watch it again.
Yeah. So what do you think? You said you're gonna go with a 7?
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm pretty much with you. I'm gonna grade it, I think, a little bit more harshly than that, just because I don't know. It was just like, I think what they lacked in interesting kind of development or writing, they just kind of threw depressing, kind of bleak things at you. And it's not like an adventure movie per se, but it also kind of is, because they have them going on this journey from one base to another, and then once that's over, the rest of the movie just sort of fell flat for me. Didn't really care for this one too much. George Clooney's acting was fine. I liked his character okay, and I liked the premise for the story okay. Just like you said, Act 3 fell flat. I think I'm actually going to give this one a 5 out of 10. I'm kind of right in the middle there. Probably not a movie I'll ever watch again. Not really a movie I was thrilled about, but interesting movie, definitely. A story that we've kind of seen before, at least in some way or another, for sure. But that's it. So let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. What would you guys rate this one out of 10, and why? Did you love it, hate it? Definitely not the best movie to come out. And this was late 2020, right? Or was this a 2021? Now I'm trying to remember.
I think it was 2020.
This was 2020, yes. This was like mid to late December 2020. So, okay, so it's not a 2021 movie yet. So 2021 we still have high hopes. But that's it, guys. Let us know what you think down below. Let us know what you think of my makeup down below. How do we do? Is this the look for me? Should I have done wings? Maybe a little bit darker, smoky look?
I think the colors are a nice natural complement to your.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. The links for all this makeup product will be down in the description below. No, they won't. Let us know what you guys think. I don't really have a current event for today. We were so busy doing the makeup and whatnot that this is pretty much it. Short review for you guys today. The Midnight Sky, Critic in the Common Man. Go to our Instagram, Critic in the Common Man on Instagram, and check out the IGTV video behind the scenes of me getting all made up like this. We will be planning another 21 questions game. You better be ready, Chris, because I am coming for you, dude.
I'm just gonna text Rachel or send her a message.
I've been digging through the archives. I've been digging through the archives to find a movie that I think will stump you.
You can be like, this Swedish film released in 1923.
Hey, it has to be a movie that you've seen, so it's at least it's somewhere in your memory bank for sure. But another round of 21 questions to come. I may have lost the battle, but the war is not over for sure. All right, guys, Critic in the Common Man, we appreciate it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If this is your first time watching us, please give us a subscribe. I promise I will not look this horrifying every single video. Chris, we are out of here. Get a little close-up beauty shot on me, Chris, before we leave.
Slow panning. Beautiful.
See you guys.